Hi, I'm Jacinta Shane. I am a teacher at Lawrence Gardner High School. I teach history, and I teach to those kids who are juvenile offenders. Lawrence Gardner High School is located in a maximum security prison, and I teach to children who have committed crimes. More specifically, I teach in the violent ward here at the prison, and what I do there is I teach kids not only history but also coping skills and behavior and how it should be maintained within our society. When speaking of our community or our society, on the demographics that was needed for a typical school, which would be in a typical district or community, yes, Lawrence Gardner is located in Topeka, and as you can see on my chart, the percentages for the white, black, Hispanic populations within the city of Topeka. However, Lawrence Gardner is housed in a maximum security prison, so our demographics are going to be different than a typical school. Our school has students from all over the state of Kansas. So when comparing demographics, I only felt it fair to go with Kansas statistics, the state of Kansas statistics. They're quite similar to Topeka overall. The white population seems to be pretty consistent. Black dropped about 6 points. It looks like Hispanics are a little bit more overall than just in Topeka. But the statistic that I find quite alarming is where Lawrence Gardner High School statistics are at. You know, just within the whole entire state of Kansas, there's only 5.9 population of black in our community, and yet we have 31.53% at Lawrence Gardner High School. The Hispanic population, 22.52% as compared to overall state of Kansas at 10.5%. Those statistics really spoke to me in volumes. I'm like, what? Quite shocking when I look at the statistics and you map it out the way I have here on this slide. The general language there is English. I have not met a student yet that I can't communicate with, though we do have a teacher there that does speak fluent Spanish if ever we are needing a translator, or if we need her just to work with a couple of students. We normally put them in her classroom. Each student is a ward of the state, meaning that we pretty much take over all of their needs. So in that regard, we house them, we feed them, and basically 100% of our students at LGHS are disadvantaged. We have 9% are female in our prison population, and 91% are male juvenile offenders, and that is what I teach, is male juvenile offenders. Sometimes I teach the females, but most of the time I'm teaching the male juvenile offenders. We teach from 7th grade to 12th grade. We also have Washburn Tech University in our facility for those who want to earn a college degree. The majority of our student body is between 15 and 17. There's a slide later on describing, our graduation rate, but mostly here at LGHS, we have 5 grades that we're teaching. We're even thinking about adding on, because our middle school ages are growing in such numbers right now, actually separating them out and putting them into their own classrooms. That has been discussed several times. Academic-wise, let me give you a little bit of perspective on this. Our academic has a limited liability level of 1. Basically, 80% of our students have limited ability in reading, 93% have limited ability in math, 64% limited ability in science. Yes, most of our students are at level 1, but most of our students are dropouts. Most of our students are in crisis, whether it be in drugs, whether it be in suicide, whether it be in violent or criminal activity. They are in crisis, and that's what we get. And more importantly, most of our students want a chance to change, a chance to go to school, a chance to fix what they have done wrong. We got tons of educational options within our school, and I'm so excited that I can offer these to these guys and girls when they come in, because most of the time, by the time we get them, they feel horrible for what they have done. They feel like they have let their family down, they've let their community down, and it's our job to inspire them and to motivate them back. We put them on individualized plan of study. We do a lot of assessments on them when they first enter so that we can find the gaps. We've got dropouts, very little education, very little educational experience. So we find the gaps, we test them, and we put them each on their own path. That way, when they come in, they can go out and they actually can get back on our website and they can continue their study, which is really, really cool. Now, most of our students go back to their normal high schools. But also, look at our students' IEPs. Out of all of our population, 38.74% are on IEPs. Okay, these are learning disabilities. 90 to 93% of our students are on a behavioral plan because of the behavior that they've shown or what they have done while they've been at our facility. We put them on those plans in order for them to see what they are doing. We step in where the parents can't be at. We step in where the teachers in normal education out within the state of Kansas can't be at. And basically, we take kids who have dropped out, who've decided they don't want to do school. We convince them to go back to school. We convince them that education is important. We motivate them that while they're here, the best thing they can do is to walk out with a diploma. That is our job. That is what we do. And that's how we teach. With most of my students on IEPs, I have to know each student. I have to know their learning disabilities. I got to know their behavior. And then I've got to accommodate. I've got to adapt to each one of my students as I go throughout the classroom, as I go throughout the day. I teach on the violent ward, meaning that my children have had a history of violence. And so when I teach with them, I teach them with a very soft environment, anti-anxiety environment. I try to keep them calm. I try to keep them at peace while I teach them. Remember Maslow's theory of safety. You know, once they know that I'm there to help them and that they can trust me, these kids open up and they tell me, I want my education, but I can't read, or I have dyslexia. And a lot of times these kids don't even know they have dyslexia. So we're testing them. We're looking at their reading scores, and we're finding the gaps. I had one student who was a senior in high school come to me with a 5th grade reading level, and I was able to give him the support he needed. I can give them para support. We are certified teachers in all of our fields. We also give them testing accommodations, which include reading the test to the student. We give them by themselves in a room if they can't handle all the people. We do redirects. We can do open book. We take their IEPs and we customize to their standards. There's a lot of times where I will be one-on-one with a student for a solid hour because I feel it's important that they understand that we are there for them. Everything I do, seating charts, reward programs, group activities, peer activities, peer-on-peer, pair share, roundtable discussions, all those things cater to my students and where they're at in life. In prison, we have a high suicide rate, so I have to make sure that everything I do is positive reinforcement. I do intrinsic motivations. Of course, there's intrinsic motivations within themselves, but there's also there's motivations that I give them as far as like reward programs in order to keep them moving forward. How do I reflect? I'll tell you. Every time I get down, every time I get a student that I struggle with, I go back to our graduation rate in 2017, 86.9%. That's even higher than the state. Every teacher here is on their game. They are motivating. These students are incredible, and to watch them flourish when everybody has given up on them is one of the best perks of the job. Every teacher here cares, especially in this environment. You have to absolutely love your job and love that student, or you will not survive at LGHS. But the demographics, as far as I'm concerned, has to be reflected through the whole state in order for me to give you an accurate and correct statistics for this assignment. But like I said, at LGHS, we are representing the state as far as coming with every avenue of diversity, cultural diversity, and the atmosphere is good. We teach on collaboration and being there for each other and having social acceptance. But again, I go back to the first slide that I showed you. Our statistics and our demographics within the prison is so much different than the demographics of the state of Kansas. And I'm hoping in the future that we won't even have a prison, that these kids get the help that they need within their communities. I appreciate you listening to me, and I hope that you I would love for you to come visit LGHS. It's a great school, and we have great kids. So thank you, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks.